and welcome to another business process breakdown. So today we are chatting about handling high ticket leads. So, what can you do to handle them with confidence in a way that you are delivering amazing customer and client service and a great experience while making your life a little bit easier? So when we're talking high ticket, we're usually talking about an offer that is from a few $100s up to sky's the limit, honestly. And these offers will often be either A, highly customizable to each client, or B, are just really time intensive for you. So it's going to be critical to make sure that this offer, this thing that you're selling, is both a great fit for you, but also for your client, right? Again, when we're talking hundreds, potentially thousands of dollars, it's a kind of product that someone does need a minute to see full fit in their budget. And again, we just want to make sure that this is for the right person, right? Often these are going to be offers that are specific for a very niche market. So, is this even the right thing for this client? Okay, so let's hop into it. All right, so the first thing that I would want to do is I would want some sort of filter where this is really my opportunity to make sure that this is, again, just the right offer for this person. And there are a couple ways to do this filter step. Some options would include DMs or emails, calls, right, either over the phone or video, or even actually meeting in person, right? And a good way to think about it is use this filter like it's a job interview, right? Where it's not about absolutely making the sale, absolutely overcoming every objection and closing in every single client. The purpose is really more to see if this is even a good fit for you, right? Keep in mind, you might be working with this person for quite a while, and obviously, if it's even the right offer for this person, right? As you're talking to them, you might realize that there's actually another offer that you have that might suit them best, and this is the opportunity that you have to let them know about it. Okay, so obviously, DMs or email is pretty easy to do. So I'm gonna target calls and meetings. Okay, and so for this specific step, I'll actually call it interview, filter/interview. Okay, so if you're going to schedule an appointment, I like to use a program that is called Calendly. And the reason why I love Calendly is for a few of their features. First off, when I create the type of appointment that I want to set, I can already input the location of this meeting. So if it's a physical location, I can input the address. If it's a phone call, I can input the phone number and mention if you are calling me or if I'm calling you. And if you're doing like a video call, you can already connect your Google Meet or your Zoom directly to the appointment. So when an appointment is booked, a link will get automatically created. So one last thing to think about. And personally, I love Google Meet. That is what I use because my whole business ecosystem is very much in Google. Like I use Gmail, I use G Drive, and when you use Google Meet and you record the call, the recording will be automatically saved in your Google Drive. You all know that I try to shave off time and steps wherever I can, and that is a great one. So Google Meet is my preferred program for this, but again, you could also link it to Zoom. Another feature I really like when you use Calendly is the availabilities that you put. So for a single appointment type, you will be able to say when people can book for this appointment. So which days and which times. And you can set them to be either recurring times, so every week it's the same availabilities, or once in a while, an odd day and odd time, you can input that as well. Now, the magic happens when it is connected to your Google Calendar. Because when someone books an appointment through Calendly, the appointment would automatically be added to your Google Calendar along with all the information, the links, the phone calls, the location, etc. And B, it will recognize blocks that you input within Google Calendar. So let's say I have Tuesdays from 10 to 12 that are open for appointments. Well, if I happen to have an appointment at 11 that day, Calendly will recognize this appointment and will automatically not offer it for your Calendly appointment. So you don't need to go back and double check and adjust your appointments every time. As long as they are in your Google Calendar, you are good to go. So I quite like that. And I guess lastly is just the ease of use. Because before having this filter steps, we would have to schedule this interview or call or thing. And in order to do that, we can simply share our Calendly link, right? And so this is a link that you can easily have on your website, on your link in bio. And so when someone DMs you or emails you, hey, I might be interested, can we schedule a call to see what this entails? You can just send them the link. So honestly, it makes your life way easier. Instead of sending 15 emails back and forth, you just share them a link. So I really, really like that. Actually, I'm going to put that a little bit lower. Okay. Share a link. Okay. Now, obviously, that's not necessarily a step that you would have to take into account for DMs and emails, since you can just go right ahead and have the discussion over emails. Now, quick personal note, DMs and emails, I think, have more of a place when it comes to slightly cheaper options. But when you're talking about offers that are thousands of dollars, definitely go for these guys. Simply because there's a bit more room for a discussion about what it is that the service or product entails and more opportunity for objections. Now, again, my goal here isn't to be like, oh, you have to overcome every single objection. That's not the point. But there can definitely be a discussion in terms of, can we make this service fit to your needs? Or is this really just not the right thing for you? So that's my personal 2 cents. And whichever you decide to pick along between all these options, honestly just comes down to your personal preference. So if there's a specific contact method that you prefer, that you are most comfortable using, and that you feel you are best at communicating the value of your offer, should be your go-to. Okay. Now that we have done that, obviously we have scheduled it. And obviously when it comes to DMs and emails, you can just go right ahead, tell people to just shoot you a DM. However, there are a couple things that I like to do for emails. For instance, you can link your email address. And you do that by typing in, I'll just show you like that. There you go. Mail to .. and then already right away input the email. So you can have this link set up on your website in your link in bio, and when people click on it, it will open their email app and already have your email in the to section. So it makes it super easy for people to to send you an email, or another way to do it is to set up a form and to have people fill out the form in order to contact you. Okay, so this is pre-screening steps. Now, once you've done this step, there are really two options possible, right? Either you have a no, either you, the other, your lead, or both of you decide this isn't the right product or the right service. You get a no. It might be permanent, it might be temporary, you get a no. So for now, that's all we need to care about. And the other option is if it's a yes, if it's a positive, if you decide to move forward. And what happens from there really depends, again, on A, your preference, and then 2, what it is you're selling. So in the event of a class or some sort of course, some sort of digital product, you can just go ahead and send them the link so that they can purchase. If it's more of a service or a package of some type, I like to work off of a proposal or estimate, depending on, again, your type of work. The proposal is a really great way to put on paper, black on white, what it is you discussed. And it's also an opportunity for you to potentially have multiple packages outlined, right? So I'm not going to go into the details of all the strategies that you can use, but I really, really like the proposal. And post-proposal, you can have an optional call. This will be especially interesting if you offer a service that you can fairly easily customize. And so there might be wiggle room in your proposal to switch out some of the features, potentially even the goals and the pain points that your lead wanted to address, and to make a couple of changes. So I like to have a call, or even just to clarify some of the items in the proposals. And once the call is done, seal it in through a contract. All right, so keeping this process in mind, I do like when I have this whole process set up in a CRM. And CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. And the goal of a program like that is to keep track of client information, client communications, offers, etc. So you, like, especially if we're looking at someone who says no, it might be a no that's like, oh, in a couple weeks, in a couple months, or when this happens, I still want to work with you. And so it's really good for you to set a reminder for these kind of things. Or if you get someone that ghosts you or something goes wrong, you have all of this information. Or even for the proposal, you're able to look back at your filter step. What is it that they wanted? So I like to have some sort of system that links all of this information to my CRM. So automations for this can look like an automation that is set as a filter in my inbox. So this way this goes here. Okay, and that's a filter in your inbox. Another one that is possible is, earlier I mentioned, if you just want to work off of emails, a form might be a really good idea. And so you can set up an automation through a form that also sends the information to your CRM. Using Calendly, you would have a similar setup, but you have to get their $9 a month plan in order to access automations. And then you can create an automation so that even if someone accesses your link without necessarily talking to you first, all of their information gets sent to your CRM. Now, you might be thinking, oh, most people that reach out to work with me, reach out personally. I probably wouldn't need that. And honestly, if you can shell out $9 a month, I highly recommend it, just to save yourself the pain of having to copy and paste or transcribe emails. Because there's nothing worse than sending 15 emails to your potential lead, not getting any replies, thinking they ghosted you, only to realize you didn't input the email correctly. So, automations, incredibly useful. All right, and then obviously when we're looking at proposal and contract, have those added to your CRM as well, so that again, in the event that there is a miscommunication or you want to double check what it is that you agreed upon, all the information regarding client projects, client work is all in one place. So honestly, that's really my tips for that. When it comes to, as I mentioned, this process, it will really depend on your preferences, the type of work that you do. Same goes for the questions that you will want to ask in our filter or interview stage. I always recommend asking 2 questions at least, which are A, what are you hoping to gain from our work together? And then B, what is your budget? Super, super, super important to make sure that these align, or there's potentially room for wiggle for what it is that you're looking to offer. And this could be already something that you know right off the bat before your call, or that you discussed during the call. And all the other questions, honestly, would really just be questions that you figure out, that you think about within your work. What do you like people to know? What kind of clients do you like to work with? And making sure that this is really the person for this service. Now, in terms of programs for this kind of setup, I mentioned Calendly already to book your appointments. But for the CRM itself, I'm a huge fan of ClickUp, but honestly, if you work with a good amount of leads, ClickUp is not, at least at this stage, the right program for you. You can't really build a full-scale CRM. So, at least in ClickUp. So, a really good place to start is a program that is called Begin. And no, I didn't write it with a typo. That is actually how it's written. And it's made by a company called Zoho. So, Begin is their small company, their small business CRM, and they have a much bigger program, but this is a good place to start. And you will notice that in a lot of CRMs, they have a feature called the pipeline or sales pipeline, and you are usually going to be able to input this top layer in it. And so that way, when you have a lead that is inputted into your CRM, you can move along the different steps and you can visually see where certain deals, certain clients are at, add notes as to if you lost or won the deal. And again, just have all your information inputted in one place. So I guess my tip for you is to, after you watch this video, take a minute and brainstorm what are the questions that you would want to have answered in order to make sure that you can work with this person and that they know what they're getting involved into. So that would be A. And then 2, what kind of post-call process would make sense for you in order to get you and them ready to get the work done, right? And this could be, again, as simple as, here's the link for the thing that I'm selling, the group course, or, right, whatever it is. But if it's a more involved process, do you want to send a proposal? Do you want to send an estimate? Again, what kind of information do you need? and that you potentially want to have, or at least make sure of, prior to starting to work. So honestly, that is it for today, and I hope that was somewhat clear as to what I would need to handle a high ticket client. And honestly, like, my best tip for this would be to spend a couple minutes, brainstorm what it is you need, and make it a standard operating procedure. Like, make sure like that is just how you do things. But honestly, having all the information at hand in one place is going to be super, super helpful. And if you can set up automations to make sure that you're not missing out on any emails, any appointments, and that you make your lead's job as easy as possible, they'll be much more likely to have a good experience and to want to work with you. So that is it for today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want me to cover another process in the future, drop it down in the comments below or shoot me a message and I'm happy to cover it. Otherwise, come and find me on Instagram. That is where I post most of my content.